Hello, my dear students. Welcome back. I know, exams are just around the corner, but don't you worry one bit. Your favorite tutor is here, and we're going to make this chapter, Biotechnology and its applications, super easy for you.
Trust me, by the end of this session, you'll feel like this chapter is a total piece of cake. We're going to break it all down. Simple as that. So, are you ready? Let's do this.
All right, so here's our game plan for today. First, we'll tackle biotech and agriculture. Then, we'll jump into medicine. After that, we'll look at transgenic animals, and we'll wrap up with the super important topic of biopiracy and ethics. Simple, right? Let's go. Okay, first stop, agriculture. You know, in India, farming is everything, right? It's the backbone of our country. But our farmers face so many challenges. Well, guess what? Biotechnology has been a total game changer, like a superhero for our farms. Let's see exactly how.
Wow, just look at this picture. It really tells you everything. On the left, you see what pests like the bollworm do to our cotton crops. It's just heartbreaking, total destruction. We're talking about lakhs and lakhs of rupees lost for our farmers. But then, look to the right. That's our hero, Bt cotton. It's a special plant that knows how to fight back.
So what's the secret sauce here? What's Bt cotton's superpower? Well, it's all thanks to a gene we borrowed from a tiny bacterium called, and say it with me, Bacillus Thuringiensis. This little guy produces something called the Bt toxin. Think of it like a personal bodyguard for the cotton plant that keeps all the bad guy insects away.
Okay, everybody, pens down, eyes here. This is a super important exam question. I bet you this could be a 5-marker. The question is, why does this Bt toxin kill the poor insect, but it doesn't harm the bacterium that made it, or even the plant itself? Think about it for a second. Got an idea? Let's check if you're right. So here's the magic behind it all. The toxin inside the plant is actually sleeping. It's in an inactive form called a protoxin. It needs a special key to wake it up. And guess what? That key, or like a secret password, is the alkaline pH inside the insect's gut. The moment the insect eats the plant, click, the password works. The toxin wakes up, gets activated, and starts punching holes in the insect's gut. This causes the cells to swell up and burst and, well, bye-bye insect. Okay, so we took care of one villain, the bollworm. But uh-oh, here comes another one. Meet the nematode, Meloigeanae incognitia. He's this teeny tiny worm that loves to attack the roots of tobacco plants, causing all sorts of damage. So, what's our plan for this little guy? For this, we use a super smart technique called RNA Interference, or just RNAi. Now, the best way to understand this is, imagine you're about to get a mischievous message on your phone, right? But your mom sees it first and just deletes it, before you even read it. That's exactly what RNAi does. It finds the nematode's harmful messenger RNA, the mRNA, and just silences it. Poof. No message, no protein, no damage. How cool is that?
And hey, the proof is right here in this picture. Look on the left. See those galls? Those poor roots are totally infected by the nematode. But now, look at the right side. Those are the transgenic roots, the ones with our RNAi shield. See how healthy and clean they look? Big difference, right? This is a really important diagram for your exam, so remember it. All right, let's leave the farms for now and head over to the hospital. Because biotechnology isn't just about plants. It has completely changed medicine, giving us amazing new ways to fight diseases.
Let's take diabetes. You know, back in the day, the only way to get insulin was from pigs and cattle. And you can imagine, for some people, this caused nasty allergies. It just wasn't a perfect solution. But then, biotech came to the rescue. We figured out how to get tiny bacteria, like our friend E. coli, to produce human insulin. And now we have a supply that's safe, it works perfectly, and we can make tons of it.
Okay, another quick question for all you smart people out there. This is a classic 1-mark question. We pop pills for headaches, for fevers, so why can't diabetic patients just take an insulin pill? Why do they need to take an injection? What do you think?
The answer is actually super simple. It's because insulin is a protein. If you swallowed it as a pill, your stomach would just think, ooh, yummy protein, and digest it, just like it digests the dal or chicken you ate for lunch. It would be broken down before it could even do its job. So that's why it has to be injected directly into the blood. Simple, isn't it?
And this is another important point. In our body, insulin isn't made in its final form. First, it's something called proinsulin. See that extra bit in the middle? That's the C peptide. To make the insulin work,
our body has to chop off that C-peptide. This was a big puzzle for scientists, but they cleverly figured out how to make the A chain and the B chain separately in bacteria and then just stick them together. The result was Humulin, the very first genetically engineered human insulin.
Okay, now we're getting into stuff that sounds like it's straight out of a Marvel movie. Gene therapy. I mean, just think about it. Instead of just treating the symptoms of a genetic disease, what if we could go right to the source, right into the DNA, and fix the broken gene itself? That's what gene therapy is all about.
And believe it or not, this isn't science fiction. It's real. The very first time this was ever done was back in 1990. The patient was a little 4-year-old girl who had a disease called ADA deficiency, which basically meant she had almost no immune system. So what the doctors did was they took out some of her immune cells, used a virus to deliver the correct, healthy gene into them, and then put them back into our body. It was an absolutely historic moment.
Okay, our next topic is transgenic animals. The word sounds complicated, but it's simple. Trans means across, genic means genes. So we're talking about animals that have genes from another species. Now you might be thinking, why on earth would we do that? Well, there are some very, very important reasons.
So why do we make them? Well, for one, to study how our bodies work and develop. We can also use them to understand really complex diseases like cancer. Super useful, right? They can also become little medicine factories, producing important biological products for us. And, very importantly, we use them to test if new vaccines or chemicals are safe before we ever give them to people. So yeah, this list is definitely something you'll want to remember.
And here's a famous example you should know. Meet Rosie the cow. Rosie wasn't just any cow. She was the world's first transgenic cow. Way back in 1997, she was created to produce milk that had a special human protein in it. This made her milk much more nutritious and balanced for human babies. How amazing is that?
Okay, everyone, let's talk about our final and maybe one of the most important topics. With great power comes great responsibility, right? And biotechnology is incredibly powerful. So we have to talk about the ethics of it all and something called biopiracy.
Just look at that number on your screen. 2 lakh. That's right, 200,000. That's how many different varieties of rice we have just in India. It's unbelievable. Our country's biodiversity and the knowledge our ancestors had about it, it's a national treasure. We absolutely have to protect it.
So what is this biopiracy? Well, simply put, it's theft. It's when big companies from other countries come and use our natural resources, like our plants, our traditional knowledge, and then they patent it and make money from it, all without asking for permission or paying the people and the country it actually belongs to. The classic example is Basmati rice. It's been ours for centuries, but an American company tried to get a patent on it. That's just not fair, and it's a huge issue we need to be aware of.
And that's a wrap on our super revision. So, the big question at the end of all this is, what happens when this amazing, powerful, modern technology meets our country's ancient wisdom and natural treasures? How do we make sure we use this power for good, in a way that's fair and respectful to everyone? It's a big thought, isn't it? Okay, that's all from me. All the very, very best for your exams. I know you're going to do great. You've got this.